This stuff set up. Jason, what's up? Man, I had a hard time uploading this. What's up, everybody? Man, it was wild today in court. We're gonna laugh in here today. It's crazy. I ain't never seen nothing like this. Hey, D Lovely, what's up? Melissa, what's going on? I'm trying to catch these names, they fast. Katrina C, Adrian Wesson, what up? What up, King? Melanie Blair, DJ Salmon. Sandman, what's up? Kay, hey Kay. What up, CB Banks? Mia Gibbons, I am Keisha. Gab, what up? Lanier Studios, Jay's Upper T. What's up, Carl? Darlene P, everybody else, Mary Jane, what's happening? Listen, let's jump into this. I'm gonna tell you something. Today, by far, was the best day at the Tyre Nichols trial. Now, every day since it began on Monday, the prosecution has been looking good and the defense has looked crazy. Like I told you, remember, this is about 20 minutes of video footage that's undeniable that these police officers out here in Memphis, the ones named Smith, Bean, Desmond Smith, Justin Smith, Jadarius Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Desmond Mills testified yesterday. He half-assed, but he testified. And Emmett Martin, who has not testified at all. Now I want to tell you something that's crazy, and this blew my mind today. Today, the defense, I put up in the community post. Some of you seen it. The defense, not the defense. The prosecution rest, and it's only day 3. At 10:48 this morning, they said, let it be for the record that the prosecution rests. So now the rest of the trial is the defense. It's just the defense trying to make their case, right? Now at 10:48, they did this, but what happened before that, some of y'all was watching it. I don't know if the volume still messed up, but one thing's for sure, they did fix the air, and I went in there dressed like this today because it was hot, and I was in there freezing, but it's all good. Now, first thing they did this morning with the prosecution, this is what they did. They brought in 2 witnesses. The first witness they brought in, and I want you guys to remember this, they brought in a TBI agent, which is the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations. Remember, they had took over the case. The person they brought from Tennessee Bureau of Investigations was a forensic analyzer of cell phone data. So he was a cybercrime specialist. So if y'all been keeping up with the case, what's that about? Demetrius Haley's cell phone. Guys, let me tell you something. They brought this forensic guy in because he was explaining how they extract stuff off of phones, right? And what he was saying was mind-blowing. That's a video by itself, but I'm going to stay on this trial. He pulled off the data from the phone. Demetrius Haley, right? Remember he took the pictures of Tyre Nichols? Okay. For most part of the morning, it was like 5 people in the courtroom. The media was on this side, just media people and lawyers. On the side I am where the family and stuff was, the family was in there originally. When they said, hey, we're going to be showing this video, people left out. So it was me, media people behind me, and a couple family members in there. So like 3 family members, the rest of the people was not affiliated with it, and me. Yo, they showed the picture of that Demetrius Haley took of Tyre Nichols. Nobody ever seen it before. When he took the picture of Tyre Nichols, y'all, I'm gonna be honest with you, man, it was messed up. You know when he was up against the car? The way he looked, man, I'd have felt bad. And I started getting angry all over again. And remember, guys, I ain't got a dog in this fight. I started getting angry for the way he looked. And when Field Lieutenant Dwayne Smith came and looked at him, you knew he was in dire straits. Remember when I used to go off in my videos, I'm like, yo, he need to be locked up too, because looking at him, you can tell he shouldn't look like that. Because if they was in the fight for their lives, none of them had marks on them, but he did. Listen, this is what he looked like. He was handcuffed against the thing, right? They had him handcuffed. He had a hoodie on. You know, like that black hoodie I wear? It was ripped on both arms. Like it was just tore, like somebody slashed it with a razor blade. That's how strong they was pulling on him. All of his head had various scrapes. Both sides of his eyes, y'all, looked like road rash, like somebody drug him, right? It was all pink. His head was swollen, but it was like a weird swollen. He was laid up there. His mouth was blood. It was so much blood in his mouth that it just looked like a red circle. You couldn't even make out his lips. It was fucked up. And I mean, that shit had me hot. I'm like, damn. So they showed that picture. He shared that picture with 11 people. And one of the people was somebody in Memphis Police Department. I'm not gonna say that person's name because they're not in trouble. They got fired, I think. I think there's one of the people that got fired. When they say people got a phone call, got fired. They fired this dude or this girl. He sends the pictures. The person says, because they show the text messages. They said, damn, who did dude like that? He said, us. That's what he said. He said, us. And he was like, man, the streets is crazy out there, man. Y'all be safe. Because they was thinking, remember the story was building up that Tyre Nichols was this maniac with strength. They still was sticking to that today and all this other stuff, right? So then they pulled and showed his autopsy photos. They showed the bruises on his head, right? In fact, I'll get to that in a second. What the Tennessee guy said was basically they had him on air so he could say he took these pictures, shared the pictures, how they got the pictures back when he tried to delete them. And it showed that after he beat this guy up, he showed his pictures and kind of made it like he was showing off his handiwork because he's done that before. See what I'm saying? So it's a pattern. So that's what they wanted to show, the pattern and how insensitive he was as a cop. You understand what I'm saying? So they showed all of that and then they let him get down. He wasn't up there long. They let him get down. So that's one agent they had up there, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. They had one agent. Then they had the medical examiner come up, the same one that was in the feds. So they had this guy come up there. He's an old man. He come up there. He's sitting there like a doctor. He's talking. They start going over the thing. Now, this is what took the longest. They start going over the bruises. They go over his teeth. Thank you, Karen. They go over his teeth. They showed his teeth. They lifted up. This tooth right here was broke. Like it's broke off where they kicked him in the mouth. His face, when they showed him on the slab, his face looked better than it did before, but it looked somewhat normal. You know, they cleaned the body up. So they showed his face up close. He had road rash, blood clots on his eyes. His teeth was messed up in the front. They was like broke out. And his knees and his left shin was scarred all to hell. Both his knees. Both his shoulders up here was scarred like to the pink meat. You know what I'm saying? Like as if you fell off a motorcycle. That's what he looked like. He was in a motorcycle accident. It was scarred. His back looked like slavery, like I guess like from moving around, and like it was all pink and scarred up. And it was just messed up. Anywhere a contact point was on the ground, it was like he was dug in. If you get a chance to go back, I thought about this in the thing. If you go back and you look, when he was on the ground after they kicked him and beat him, it looked like they was grinding his face or grinding him into the ground. I think that's where he got the multitude of that stuff, was they was just doing, you couldn't see with the sky, they was just doing him dirty. And that's why his legs was moving, because he was in pain. They was grinding him up. That ain't cool, man. That shit is not fucking cool. That shit make me mad. I just stared at them niggas like, y'all ain't shit. Look, I didn't mean to say niggas, but you understand what I'm saying? Listen. The guy was talking. This sealed the deal right here. The doctor said they broke down all the stuff on his face. Reminiscent of what? What is that from? Yeah, getting drugged or getting put. and they broke down his brain activity. They said his brain. They said his brain was tore up. They said it was the injuries he had was similar to a high-speed car crash or falling off a fucking building at a high height. They said because it's just a sudden stop in motion, and your brain floats in fluid. They said because they talked about his body injuries first, and then they talking about his brain injury. I didn't notice, and it make me more mad when I think about like child abuse, when children be getting blunt force trauma. That blunt force trauma hit to the head bullshit, that shit's serious. People need to take that stuff serious. That head injury stuff is real. This is what they said. Now you have your scalp, right? You have your scalp, and then you have fibrous material under your scalp that is between your scalp and your skull. So you have two different type of tissues. Your scalp counts as one tissue, and then the fleshy part that's inside your body in your head counts as one part, and then you have this fibrous type of material that people don't see under the scalp. He said he had blood pools under his scalp and under that fibrous part, which is tough, that protects the skull. So he was hit really hard, and his brain was going back and forth to where the skull, because they said when you turn your head, what makes it where, like, when you turn your head, you get that, there's somewhat like, you can see, but it's that little bit of focus. Your brain has to turn with your head and then align again, then your vision come back. It takes milliseconds, but when you're going back and forth like that, if you take your head and shake back and forth, your brain has to adjust and straighten back up for you to be fully focused. And that's why they was hitting him. Now, I'm going to tell you something. What made me get a lump in my throat about this whole situation, just bear with me. It was a time when Tyre Nichols was beat and he was making sounds, and I don't mean to insult nobody, where he sounded like somebody that had Down syndrome. Remember, he was making them sounds, he's going like that. The way he described it, what was happening was his brain was swelling. And because your skull cannot expand, his brain was swelling so bad that he said when the brain swells and there's no release of it, the blood vessels that control different parts of the body, speech, your heartbeat, liver function, kidney function, depending on where the swelling is, it cuts off the blood vessels and certain systems in your body will shut down. What we were witnessing in that part was basically, besides him suffering immensely, the pressure was building, and it's almost like a pot that you can't get the steam out of. So it's just affecting the brain, and it was basically breaking his brain down to where he couldn't function, and he was making sounds because he was in pain, but he didn't know who he was, where he was at, anything. That's sickening. That's sickening. And just to know that they did that. To know that they did that to him. Whoo, shit. It bothers me. You understand what I'm saying? Because, I mean, we all hit our head before. You know what I'm saying? And that shit hurt. But to have nobody help you, and they the ones that did it, and then they never said nothing, they act like they didn't do anything. Man, that shit, man. I was just speechless. I just stared at them niggas like, damn, yo, like what the fuck? Why would you do that to him? All right, listen, moving along. Hold on, give me a second. Shit, I didn't even know this shit. Sitting in court is hard, y'all. This shit hard, man. I mean, Okay. Give me a second to get myself together for real. I didn't know it was gonna start like this. I didn't shit. Okay. We'll get past that. He just suffered. Just know that he suffered. And it's just sad that, you know, with what black folk go through, And to have black cops do this to somebody, they picked him and they just did it to him. It could have been any of us. That's the part that I can't get past. It could have been anybody. Like, I mean, we drive in our cars every day as men. And could you imagine just a cop just pick him and just get him and just do that to him? His mom was cooking for him at the house, waiting for him to come home. And he never made it. And he was 200 feet away from his house. They established that, 200 feet away from his house. He said, Mom, and they said, shut the fuck up. Remember that? I want you to think about that. Then the whole thing today is he ran. Why did he run? He was strong. He had to run. He had to run. They jumped out the car and attacked him like the hooligans that they was, man. Yo, the jury in there today was crying. Look at this. They was wiping their eyes before the shit even started. They just got in there. They cut the lights, the show. They don't even know what they was about to see. And they just immediately pulling up the glasses. Good. The tape don't lie. This right here, I said last night, I said, this gonna be over soon. When they closed it at 10:48, I said, there it is right there. They don't even have to show nothing else. They don't even want to see the video no more. And then every time the lawyers talk, they look stupid. And we're gonna get to that today because it got crazy in there. Look. They rested at 10:48. We all broke out and left, went to lunch. We just was sitting around for a while. He said the prosecution rest, the lawyers did like this. They wasn't ready for it. So they don't have witnesses or nothing like that. They wasn't ready. They sat up, they said, all right. He sat down and he said, okay, you want to bring your witness for parakeet face, John Perry, Chadarius Bean Lord, the black dude. Your Honor, it's gonna take us a day. We weren't expecting this. We didn't know. Everybody was like, you know what I'm saying? Because when they said they rest, everybody was like, I was like, what the fuck? I said, yo, this is over. I was like, it's over. They all looking over there. They like, okay, we're gonna have a recess. Go get your witnesses, see if you can get your witnesses and all this other stuff. You should have seen all three of them lawyers scrambling. I am authentic. I am T authentically. Thank you so much. She said, praying. Look what she say. Praying for your journey. I couldn't watch. Yeah, I mean, I was desensitized to the video because I've seen it so much. But you know, from an empathetic standpoint, I'm a human being, and I know his. Let me tell you about his family, man. They are good people. I mean, they are good people. All of them. I get along with all of them. They're just nice. You would like them. They're regular people. They're not thuggy. They're not goofy. They go in the house. They go home. They work. They're regular people. Anyway, they can't find nobody. They're scrambling. They're in the hallway on cell phones, back and forth. They're talking. You got somebody? I'm loving it. So they catered food today for us, so we wouldn't ate in the back room, but I could look out the tinted window in the witness part and like look and see them. They going back and forth. I run downstairs for a while. Around 1:30, they say come back up there. Come back up there at 1:30. I come up in there. Now, check this out. This is something nobody know. They mentioned this Monday. I ain't saying nothing about it because I ain't know we gonna use in court. When they confiscated Tyre Nichols' car. Now, this is the defense. When I come in there, they got a woman on the stand. Nobody had never seen a black woman. Okay. When Tyre's car was confiscated, there were 2 stolen credit cards in the car. You hearing this from me? 2 stolen credit cards in the car. And there was like 2 IDs. It was like 7 different cards in there or something. But they were found in the car, right? So what the defense is doing is, this is their defense. In case I haven't stated this. They're saying that Tyre Nichols got beat up because they had to do it because he was so strong. They keep trying to say he was high on mushrooms and he was high on weed and it made him strong and crazy. Now remember what I just said to y'all. Every time they would have a witness come up there, unless it was a regular civilian, they would ask their credentials. And after they would ask their credentials, thank you, Guys, it went too fast. I can't see it. After they asked their credentials, right? They asked the credentials, and then they would say, let it be known for the record, I verify this person as an expert from what he's told me, and all of the lawyers have to concur. So all of the lawyers concur. So these people are experts in their craft, something that these lawyers don't know about, right? So now, this woman, they don't do that to her because she's a regular lady. So she come in and she's sitting there. She was only on the stand for about 3 minutes. Robot Wells and Ben Crump's representative had to leave because they had the access, they had possession of all the stuff in the car, including those credit cards, and they was going to be submitted as evidence they already knew. So today's the day because they closed. They usually tell you ahead of time, bring this stuff tomorrow. But because the prosecution rested, they had to rush home and get that and come back because now it's going to be on the defense's time. And I know they're going to bring that up. Like, boom. Now, when that was first said, nobody knew about it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was like, what the hell? Stolen credit cards and all this stuff. But I'm going to show you the dirty shit. When they did those things in the beginning of the trial where they were saying they wanted certain things taken out and stuff, one of the things was Tyre had possession of these cards. Now, they don't know if they're Tyre's cards or not. They were just found in the car. It doesn't say where they was found. They were just found in the car. So I don't know about that. So that's in the car. So she had to run home and go get it. So now, you know, they're going to try to bring that up. They brought it up in court. It was supposed to be one of them things where they don't bring it up. Just like how Demetrius Haley, one of the motions was not to bring up the fact that Demetrius Haley sent a text to other police saying he hate his race. Remember, we talked about that. That's not out in court. But we heard it, we was there. And they were motions that they dismissed, you know, so it wouldn't come up. Now, but they come and play dirty and they come to cards. When they come to the cards, I say they scrambling. I told Rodney and Robin, they sit next to me. In the second half, I said, they scrambling. I said, they ain't got nothing. They don't have nothing. I said, the tape, and if they close it this fast, they are scrambling. You seen how they was. And like, they be looking crazy in front of you. And like, I didn't know all this exposure. You know, you watch Law and Order and they seem calm, cool, and collective. It ain't like that in real life. You see the emotion, they be like, you see it. They be rocking in their chairs like, I'm like, yo, it's wild in here. So now, watch this. I get wind. I'm on the elevator. Two of the lawyers are on there. I'm not gonna tell you who they are. I'm on there, they on there. They talking amongst themselves. It's a bunch of people in there. They don't see me standing there. They start talking. Because there's 2 court cases going on up there at the same time. So there's other people coming around. They talking, I'm standing behind them. That's how I knew Hemphill was coming. Nobody knew he was coming. I knew he was coming when I heard the elevator. As soon as I got downstairs, I immediately, yo, the white scorpion's coming in. Then I put his picture up there so y'all had it before anybody else even had that shit. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, right? Check this. The lady sitting up there. This is the lady whose credit cards they was. They said, do you know Tyre Nichols? She said, no, I don't know him. He said, when did you find out about, you know, the cards, right? And I'm gonna get to that in a second. That's the last question they talked about. But they said, you know, do you know him? She said, no. Then they come to find out she called in and got the cards canceled in late October, early November. So the cards was in the car for the longest time. She said in November, somebody tried to use them twice at a gas station and was denied because they credit cards and they was already shut. The warning went out and they was shut off, but they were in the car. Me, honestly, I don't think they were Tyre Nichols cards because they never said where the cards was found. And number 2, you know, you have people in your car. Sometimes people have stuff and just plan it, throw it in your car. You understand what I'm saying? I've had people do that with me. Drive around and I don't like read or something in my car and they'll put it down somewhere and forget it was there. And then when I find out, I know who it was. Yo, you ain't getting in my car no more. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to touch that. But that's what they did. So they said November or October, everybody was like, he wasn't even dead. Like, what did that got to do with the trial? You know what I'm saying? So that showed they was just grasping at straws. So they dismissed her. And she walked out, and that was the end of it. The jury didn't even pay attention when she was talking. They was like, okay, because usually you write stuff down. They was like, okay, and got off of it, right? And it's the funny part. After her, this is when all hell broke loose. Now watch this. Watch this, y'all. They go and get their own FBI, TBI agent. They go get him. He's supposed to be in charge of the whole case. So they go get the TBI agent. Now, remember, these TBI agents, I found out that Tennessee Bureau of Investigation don't report to nobody. They are their own functioning entity, not the FBI or anything. They only report to the DA. Why would you go get a TBI agent to come and talk to you in your defense and speak, and he would think he would say something that would go against the same people that they work for? Why would you go get him? When we saw him up there, he was a big, tall, white dude. He came in there and he sat down. And they asked him, he said, when did you come onto the case? He said, I was assigned the case after it happened, but during COVID, he said he had COVID, so he wasn't there in the beginning. So they're trying to ask him questions. Now, this is Justin Smith's lawyer, the one I said is real good. And when they be trying to like front and like get on your side and like try to act like, you know, he down to your level, and he try to trick you and like get information out of you. He'll talk something to get you to say, yeah, so people will think you said it, and then all of a sudden he'll slam you with something. So this is what he says to the guy. This is his opening thing, right? And the guy's sitting up there. He gets up, he pulls his pants up, and he's like, yeah, you know, excuse me if I call you Chuck, because I've known you, what, 25 years, 20 years. Like, he always try to act like he know the people and shit. So the guy's like, okay. So he's up there and he's talking. And he says, how long you was here? And the guy says, hey, listen, I took over the Tyre Nichols case and I had other agents. But, you know, I came a little bit later because you remember on the 7th he was beaten, on the 11th he died. He said, well, when did you come on? He said, I came on roughly around, I think he said the day before or the day he died. So he wasn't there in the beginning. So he says, you know, TBA agents, he's trying to get the guy to agree with him, because this is what the lawyers do. They'll lead you up with small questions to a bigger question, and they try to get yes or no answers. And if it's a question where it's a yes, but it requires some type of talk, they won't let you talk. They'll go right past it and go to another question and shut you down. He was doing that to the agent, and the judge stopped it. He said, wait, stop. He said, let this man talk. You're asking him a question. You're asking he questions that require yes or no. The man's trying to elaborate. Let him elaborate. Give him the respect. You know what I'm saying? Listen, he started asking the guy questions about the mushrooms. And the guy was like, that's not my field. He said, so he wasn't giving the lawyer the right question. And the lawyer said he know him. Then he was saying something. The lawyer was like, no. I mean, the agent was like, no, I ain't never seen. He said, and then he tried to question, like challenge his credibility. And like, he got fiery. Like he was like getting loud on him. I'm like, yo, this is the dude that you brought up here and you mad because he ain't answering your questions. The guy was like, I'm not saying that, no. He said, how many agents were there? He said, I came later. That's when they put me in charge of it. He says, how many agents you say was there? He said, I don't know. I wasn't here at that time. When Tyre Nichols, the car was stopped, he was like, I wasn't here. So he's like, you read the reports. He said, listen, each of us have different things we covered in the thing, and I oversee it. One person might oversee the forensics of the phone. One person might oversee the video portion of it. And they each report what they seen in a meeting, and then it goes into those books that you get. So he says, you got the agent says, refer to the manual. He said, I'll do that right now. Guys, get on that. They didn't even have the whole thing, the FBI manifesto of what happened in Tyre Nichols' case. They didn't even have it. And it was in the feds. They had it in the feds. They didn't even have it in court. So he's telling them to get on it. They never get back with him. So they was unprepared. They wasn't like, he was talking and the shit, you know what I'm saying, backfired on it. Then he asked the guy another question. What did he ask him? Can you just answer how many agents were there? He was like, he started naming the agents. Like the lawyer started naming 3 agents. He said, who else was there? He was like, I can't tell you that. I keep telling you. What do you want me to say? I can't tell you. And he was asking all these different questions, but like they were not really, they were small questions, but they were leading up to the mushrooms. He said, so he got mad at the guy and he said, how much police work have you done? Have you ever worked for Memphis? The guy was like, yeah, I was a police officer for 7 years. He said, have you ever put, this is, they was talking about the handcuffs. Have you ever, he said, how big are you? The guy said, I'm 6'4", about 270. He said, now I'm small. He said, if I don't want you to put handcuffs on me, you think you can put handcuffs on me if I don't want to? He said, listen, it don't matter. He said, all arrests are difficult. Because he said, you know, you're an agent. He tried to downplay him. He said, you're an agent. So it's easy for you when you say, put your hands behind your back. He said, no, it's not like that. He said, what kind of police work have you done? Like he trying to make it like he was an agent. He sit in the office and don't do nothing. This is the funny part. The dude said, I was a cop. I did fugitive task force. So they run down on people. He said, I did all of that. And he's sitting there like this. I did all of that. And he's not emotional. He's just answering his questions. Motherfucker did like this, the lawyer say. Because he kept trying to sit over there into the jury like this, like he was like, every time he would say a question, this is what made it funny. Every time he would say a question, he acted like he kicking the knowledge, like, yeah, I'm gonna drop this. And then the guy would shit on it like, no, that's not true. Or no. He would just stand there and he kept looking at him like, you ever had somebody where you say, hey, we're gonna go in here and do this. I'm gonna say this and then you say that. And when you say your part, the other person don't say their part and stare at you, you be like, okay, this is like, yo, I thought we was cool. Why you ain't helping me? That's the part that was funny. It was one part where the lawyer, I don't know if because he was over there near the camera. The lawyer couldn't catch it. The cameraman, I think it's News Nation or Court TV, they couldn't catch it because he was in that cut. He asked him a question and he said about the handcuffs. So he says, yeah, if I put the handcuffs on, he's like, yeah, this and that. Then he asked him, he said, yo, what kind of work you did? You know, it's easy being an epic. He said, no, it's not like that. If I do fugitive task. So he named all this stuff he did that was hard. Then he said, you ever, you know about the mushrooms? But they try to say it like the scientific name for the mushrooms. Silos something. He was like, yeah, I don't know how to say the name, but I know what it is. He was like, I got a guy one time, he had a big bag of mushrooms. It was a trafficking case. So he was like, so you know a little bit about the mushrooms? He was like, you know, the mushrooms, he said, you know, superhuman strength and all this stuff. The guy said, the agent said, no, I ain't never seen that. I had a guy with a big bag of mushrooms and it didn't do anything for him. If anything, you know, they has a hallucinogen, but didn't make him strong. And he was a little guy. Like Tyre Nichols. The lawyer said, this is Justin Smith lawyer. He did this, he said, and he stood there for like 30 seconds, like everybody was looking. People was laughing in the back. They told everybody, shh. It was crazy. He just walked away. You know, the people like, I ain't got nothing else to say. He just walked away and sat down like, fuck this dude. He didn't want to look at the dude. So the prosecutor got up and he said, mushrooms, you ever see them make somebody strong? What about weed? He said, nah, if anything, it make you chill or make you like happy and like calm. He's like, that's all I wanted to know. And he sat down and they said, okay, you can leave. The agent got up and sat down. They keep pressing that Tyre was super strong. He was out of control and they was fighting for their life. Did y'all ever think about this? And I gotta give Rodney Wells credit, man. Me and him was in the car. He said this to me. He said, yesterday they was trying to push that Desmond Mills was blind from the pepper, because they maced themselves like 4 times or 3 times. He said, He was blind, so he left the scene. They was talking about how strong the pepper spray was. All of them got sprayed, and which they did. Bean and Smith, Justin Smith, was holding his arms while Emmett Martin came up and mollywopped him, but they were sprayed with mace. They gave them credit for staying in the fight, but who got sprayed with the most mace? Tyre Nichols, but they say he on drugs. So if they was holding on and still fighting and beat him to death while they was blind, like he was blind and he was super strong, they must have been on drugs too. I said, that makes sense. That make a lot of sense. So everything they saying don't make sense. Like, they are scrambling, y'all. This is like entertaining. Besides that today, like, I mean, I wasn't emotional like I was. I didn't know that was going to hit me, and I do apologize. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, this shit is stressful. Like, I'm tired. My body's tired right now. Another 10 hours in court, 9 hours, 10 hours in court, just sitting there. But, it's worth it if they get justice. I mean, the justice they want, it's worth it. And like, yeah, it's on TV, but like, I see stuff y'all don't see, and it's something, man. It's something. Last thing I want to say, and this is, we gonna round this out. Preston Hemphill comes 2:30 in the afternoon, when they did the recess after the second witness, because they said they asked the jury, y'all want to break? They like, yeah. Because it was just basically, the more they talked, the lawyers talked, the worse they looked. All of them. The worse they looked. They would try to get loud. He would shut it down. Like, why are you talking to him like that? Stop. You know what I'm saying? They're experts. You can't argue with an expert. And like, they keep bringing up the mushrooms. It was just crazy. They're trying to say he was on drugs. That means, that explains his crazy strength, which he didn't have. And they couldn't control him. And basically, they killed him in the line of duty doing what cops do. They also had, I forgot this, the prosecution brought up, before they brought up the TBI agent, they brought up a officer. It was a little lady, cop. She had all these badges on, these medals. She swore the officers in. And it said, you have to do your duty as officers and serve the public and do all that stuff. And they read each one and they showed where they signed it. And then she just got up and left. That's why they brought the TBI agent in, because the way they handled the situation is not what police do. So basically, they just showed them they didn't even do their jobs as police. Another thing I meant to tell you about the medical examiner, it's all coming back to me now. The medical examiner said out his mouth, it was a murder. Said it was a murder. He said consistent with what, because they showed the video to the medical examiner today. He said, yeah, looking at the video, I can tell what each part of his injuries came from. And they just shut it down. Thank you so much. That's when they try to, the defense come in, try to get mad at him and like talk with him. But he was cool as a fan. He was like, yeah, I mean, looking at it. Because look, when you're a doctor, can't nobody argue with you. So they came up and was like, yeah, consistent of wounds. So when they came up and they was arguing with him, they were saying everything he said as they was accepting it as fact. And then after that, and it pulled off, this is what they was doing. I figured it out. This is what's going to happen in the next few days. If I'm right, and I'm more than sure I'm right, because I'm here. They called Hemphill today, and he's still on the stand. They did him at 2:30 all the way to 6 when we got out of there. And he's going again tomorrow. That they just talked with Hemphill today about the traffic stop, the first traffic stop. And I'm going to tell you how long and arduous court is. This is the only thing Hemphill has done today. He got on there. He said how long he was a cop. He said who was in the car, who pulled him out the car, and all this, right? Now, they have him come up there, and the small lawyer, who's Justin Smith's lawyer, right? He jumps up there, and he's hitting the video from the first traffic stop, which is like 11 minutes. Every 10 seconds, he's stopping it, and he's making Hemphill say, whose voice was that? And then when he says the voice, he says, let it be known to the court, the timestamp is 2 minutes, 35 seconds, and 43 milliseconds or whatever. And then he'll go again. And if he misses something, he'll go back and do it again. 2.5 hours of that shit. We was all in there like, who's talking now? Who's this? Who's that? They could hear him at the next stop. Hey, we need more units over here. He explained the call signs. Who's 2930, 2931, 2938. He's breaking all these call signs down. And he's saying, this is him, this is that, this is how the dispatch works. They teach a lot of good information about police. And I'm like, man, I didn't even know that. But that's what they're doing right now. It's very boring with Hemphill. They ain't really slammed him yet or went crazy. But this is what I think is going to happen. And I think they ain't got no choice with it neither. They're putting the blame. They're going to shift the blame. Because remember, Mills was there, right? And then Emmett Martin hasn't been there yet. They tried to put the blame on Martin, remember? He ain't there to defend himself. The day before, they shit on Mills because they knew Mills was coming. Don't listen to nothing he say, this and that. Mills came in there yesterday and talked. Now, Martin didn't come. Prosecution rest their case without even bringing Martin up there. Now they scrambling for straws. They don't want to bring Martin in, but they might have to because they're putting the blame on Martin. They're going to swing that blame to Martin because the video keeps showing Martin running up, kicking him, this and that. But they showed, what's his name, kick him in the face today too. But they tried to say it like this. Oh, he was already messed up after Martin kicked him. So when Demetrius Haley kicked him, he was already messed up. See the games they play? If a brain is damaged already, and this is the easiest way to put it. When we was little kids and we get our ass beat, what hurt more? When you can put your hand up and brace for the blow, or if you just sitting there and you get hit with the blow, undefended? Come on. He kicked this motherfucker on the ground when he was out of it. He was already making sounds like he had Down syndrome. He was on his way out. If y'all remember in the thing, y'all, Robin Wells said when she saw him in the hospital, she said he's not going to survive this. That's how bad he looked. If you had seen that autopsy picture today, I mean, the picture of him in front of the thing, it's no way as Field Lieutenant Dwayne Smith comes up and sees that if I'm a supervisor, I'm like, yo, who beat this man up? He looked like he was fucked up. You ever seen somebody get jumped real bad? Get knocked unconscious? I seen him in prison a lot of times. He looked like that. Come on, as a cop, you see everything. For you to be a supervisor, you had to have what? A lot of experience, and you know when the motherfucker got his ass beat and didn't. You seen what he looked like, your ass need to be up there too. That's real. You seen what he looked like. Man, I'm getting fucking hot. Listen, anyway, let me get back to this because I'm get up out of here. I ain't even drank nothing in my mouth. I'm foaming and shit. Listen. They're going to try to put this blame on Martin unless something shifts where they say boom. But I will tell you this is funny too. After the defense wrestling, we all went to that break. Went had lunch and stuff, and they was wrestling people up. They came back in and they said, okay, any motions for the second half for the defense? They tried to say, we want a motion for acquittal. They all went down the line and tried to say, my client only grabbed his arms, or my client did this. Haley said, Demetrius Haley, my client came and kicked. He didn't say kick. Any logical juror will know they're all innocent. You know what I'm saying? They're all innocent. They kept saying logical juror. Judge, we're at the mercy. Please, we want to do acquittal. Look what the judge did. This shit was funny as hell. The judge got a big ass computer up there. He said, as far as the motion, and he broke all this down too. He said, as far as the motion of second degree murder getting acquitted, he said, I'm looking, he did just like this. I'm looking over here at the video right now, and it looked like the jury need to decide this. So that's denied. As far as the kidnapping, I'm looking over here at the first stop, and I'm looking at your client and your client doing it. Man, he was breaking it down. They was like, they trying to get out of it. So now we got the Hemphill thing. So after him, I don't know what's going to happen. Because they be shooting it sometimes. They pump fake a lot too. I got like 30 or 40 people I can bring in here. I honestly think we might go into deliberation Friday evening. I hope so. Because you got to remember, the Young Dolph murder lasted, what, 4 or 5 days? And they had that on video. And that was a big case, too. You know what I'm saying? One of the people was like, that worked the court, they said, yo, they in there wilding right now. She said, I thought the Young Dolph case, boring compared to this. They in there, them lawyers in there going crazy. I was like, yeah, it's wild. You know what I'm saying? But I was talking to my man, Jerry Askins, you know what I'm saying, from, what's that, Channel 5, Action 5, News Action 5. Man, shout out Jerry, man. That's my man. I love Jerry. He's like, what's up, Steve? I was sitting there. He was sitting with me for a while. And we was talking about it. He was like, man, this thing might be over by Saturday. I was like, I hope so. Because, I mean, it's drawn out. And, like, they're having to get up and leave. And people keep walking out because they keep showing the video. And I'm like, why they keep bringing up the video or the forensics to the video when the video is what got them in trouble? If I'm a defense lawyer, I'm not bringing that video up at all. They keep bringing it up and they keep showing the video. I'm like, y'all stupid. It makes no sense. You can prove the points you want to prove without putting the video up. I'm just sitting there like, yo, you can prove the point without putting the video up. People saw it. You could just talk about it. You don't have to show it again. And I was like, maybe they know more than me. But if I was in the defense team, I'll be sweating bullets. Oh, another thing is this. Preston Hemphill, when he comes in, because they come in from outside the court, nobody was sitting in front of me. Because all the lawyers, like the lawyer assistants there, sit in front. Depending on what day, sometimes there'd be people there, sometimes, like the day, that bench was basically empty with like 3 or 4 people. You know what I'm saying, up there. So he came and sat down. He was like right there next to me. I mean, right in front of me, like in the pew, like right there. Because I had my arms on the thing. I had to take it back for him to sit down. I'm going to give my assessment of him. He reminds me of a kid, a fat kid. You can tell, I ain't going to say he lived with his mom and dad, but you could tell he left home late. He had on tuxedo pants, a big bulky suit jacket that somebody must have gave him, a white shirt. It was like he just was there. And he's very innocent looking. Like he's just a fat kid. Like he eat cake and just watch cartoons. He look, I'm like, and he not a tough guy. I'm like, yo, this is a regular dude. And I'm just looking at him and he's very respectful. You know what I'm saying? He's very respectful. So he went up there and he did his thing. He's sitting there. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, sir. So basically he ain't really said nothing yet. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you're right. Full of like, you know how some people leave home late or they still might be there. You can tell when you can tell a man that left the house when he's 18. You can tell a man that left the house when they old. A lot of times men that leave the house when they older don't really have leadership type qualities. And it's, I might be saying it wrong. Now don't laugh, y'all, for real. What I'm saying is they're more adept at, they used to living with a man as a man in a house where they could they good soldiers. People like that are good soldiers. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. But anyway, see y'all playing around. But anyway, listen, I got to get up here, guys. But I mean, it was good today. And I hope y'all like the little post update I dropped. I'll see if I can drop some more tomorrow, but you can't have your cell phone in there. But damn, y'all see me crying. I feel like a bitch. I mean, I couldn't hold it. This shit is hard, man. Just why? And then it's like you become a part of this shit. Like, oh, damn, man. And like the way they described like some of the stuff in life about him and shit, that was funny. I'm like, yeah, he was a little strange, but he seemed like he was a good person. And I mean that I ain't got nothing bad to say about it, man. But stay tuned for an update tomorrow, man. We'll see what's going on. I gotta go wipe my face before I get crusties and shit. Y'all be laughing at me. And I see you guys, man. Thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow we have a better update, I guess. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. I see you. Bye.